Welcome to the Producer Review Podcast, the premier podcast for aspiring artists and producers. We discuss production, mixing, recording, and review your track submissions. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. Yo, what's going on, everybody? So, this is Derek Knock Rio, producer, sometimes rapper, writer, entrepreneur. Started producing a track here, and I forgot that I was supposed to actually record it for you guys. So I decided I should probably stop and hit the record button so that you guys can see this production. Hopefully we can go start to finish. I don't know what's gonna happen tonight. I know last night was horrible. Took me forever to upload the 3 different parts because we had a couple different power outages, and I forgot to select the right microphone on one of the videos, so that was a mess, and so I feel like I owe you guys another one. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this one together. Let's see if we can knock it out. So I'm not gonna waste a whole lot of time. I already put the drums together. I've got my snare up here. I'm gonna start labeling my tracks real quick because that's something that we normally should do. This is going to be kick number 1. I should say kick, not ick. Okay, and then we got kick number 2 right here. I stacked those. We got some hi-hats going on here. And they're kind of intermittently coming in and out. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. I don't know if I'm going to add a different hi-hat or I'm going to just leave these like this, or am I going to use this split in the verse. I don't know how that's going to go yet, but we'll what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna mute each of these tracks, and I'll bring them in one by one just so you can kind of hear how the track kind of developed, because I did them in the order that you see here. So it's good that we're kind of starting this right now. I'll go ahead and leave this open a little bit here. It is Saturday night, so I don't know what's going to happen, so I'm taking a little bit of risk doing this at this time. What is it? Well, it's 10 o'clock, and the neighborhood is pretty quiet right now. I don't know what happened to everybody. Everybody's quiet. Even the streets, man, coming home, I was at a Starbucks a little ways away from my house, and just kind of walking home, the streets were quiet. The vendors were not out or whatever, so I'm like, yo, what happened? So there are people out, but it's not like it normally is, and this is Saturday night. A couple of the bars had some people there, but not how I normally would expect it to be a Saturday night. It's nice. It's been raining the last couple of weeks or whatever like that, so this is a nice Saturday night where it's not raining. It was a good day, a very clear day, beautiful. So I don't know what happened. Maybe something went down, and everybody just man, we better be in the house. So I figured I'd probably get in the house too, because I don't want to find out what they trying to avoid. So all right, so let's roll. I'm gonna play the snare. It's already looped for 8 bars, so hopefully you guys can hear that. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this up a little bit so I can hear myself. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so there's our snare right there. It's cracking pretty good. I like that one. So and it's just a real basic snare. There's no double ups or anything on it. It's just hitting every other few bars there. So let's throw the first kick on there that I put in was this one. It's got a little bottom to it, which is kind of nice. It's a little round. I like that sound. So it's cool, but then I wanted something with a little top end on it. So I added this kick here. See, it has that little gritty little top end on it. I kind of like that. That adds a little dimension to the track itself. And then I play the hi-hats the way that they come in. See how they're coming in and out. Right now, I don't know if I'm going to leave it like that. So we'll see what happens. I was messing around. I have another idea for the strings, but then I messed around and I just put like a straight string on it. So that's kind of where we are right now with it. I've got these chords I want to throw on for the pianos. I'm just using my Keyzone Classic again. It just works for me, so I'm just gonna try to see if that's gonna work for us. Let me see if I remember what the chord was. That's gonna be the chord, so let me see if I can put that in. So let's see here. Real simple, you know. It doesn't have to be complex all the time. Sometimes the beat makes itself when it's simple. I think I got enough right there. That's pretty much all I want for that. Right now, maybe we'll do some other keys and things, maybe up a little bit higher on it. Let's just see how that feels in a little bit. But I got to put it on time. I did bring down the latency. I know if you guys watched the video from last night, the latency was up a little bit. I brought it down to like 40 milliseconds or whatever, so that should definitely help us out a little bit. I don't know how the system's going to act tonight. Hopefully we don't get these power outages and the system acts decent enough for me to go ahead and do this show for you guys real quick. Let's go ahead and move these a little bit. Kind of like last night, I'm just going to kind of work through it and just kind of talk as I go, kind of like I normally would. So let's see what happens. Okay, let's do this. It's got to sit back some. I think this one here is the right one. I think it just needs to extend a little bit. The other ones didn't sound quite like the flavor that I was looking for. So let's see what happens. I think it can extend even more. The second one needs to be kind of short. Almost like it can just extend just a little bit more, right? I kind of like how that's hitting to that, you know what I'm saying, on the end. Maybe, I don't think we got to bring it all the way up to the measure itself, dead on. I think that we get it close, but it still needs to sit back just a little bit. I'm going to take my timing off. And maybe slide it up a little bit, maybe about half of what it was, and see what that sounds like. Oh, I like that. Okay, so let's see if we can kind of get that from the rest of these here. Typically, I would probably like copy and paste something like that, but because this needs to be a little bit more organic, I'm not going to copy and paste it. I'm going to try to see if I can just get these to kind of cooperate a little bit more. And maybe by moving them by hand and not by exactly how the grid is set up, maybe it'll give it a different flavor on each one. That's not bad for the first one. Let's extend these a little bit. Extend them out. They don't all have to be the same length, but close. All right. This one just seems like we can probably use this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this because... Let's copy that and use it for the other ones, just because it's an integral part to how that's gonna sound, the feel that I want for it. So I think I'm just gonna copy it so that we preserve the sound that we have. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run it Out a little bit here and pull it out. Oh, let's get off this grid. Just back it off just a little bit so that it sits back some. We might actually use that one. That one don't sound bad. So since it was put in by hand, I'm just going to take that one out just a little bit. Yeah, maybe right. I don't want it dead on the line, but how close can we get here? Okay, that sounds fine to me for right now. If we have trouble with it later, if it just doesn't feel right in the song, then we'll move it. But right now, I think it's gonna be okay. Let's see if we can salvage this one, or do we need to do something else? All right, now I need to come off this a little bit. Each of them can have a little bit of their own flavor, and that's what makes it feel just a little bit different. Oops, a little bit of different length and all that type of stuff helps a lot to make your song have a little bit of movement to it. So then maybe we'll grab this one. We'll copy it. I'm going to stick it here on 7. Let's see. Let me get to my hole. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'll just back it off by hand a little bit. I told you my neighbors is loud, son. That's just crazy. Like, I think it's like a family. I don't know if they're. I think a lot of them are friends, but then I think some of them are actually family. But they all have like kind of like different apartments and little places here, so like all like kind of surrounding each other. So they just like yell from house to house. So nobody leaves their house. Everybody just yells from one. From their living room or whatever to the other person. But that's what I enjoy about here. Like, there's just something in it that I really just love. Very, very cool. Awesome. All right, so let's see what we got. Okay, this one, I hear something a little bit different here. So maybe I'll draw this up a little bit because the time was down a little bit. Let's draw the bottom notes up and let's see what happens. I think it's just, I think that top note needs to come over too. That's not actually bad. Okay, I might actually work with that. Um, let's see. Let me change it over to a hip hop bass and just see kind of what. We might need a combination of the two. Let me put it in with this staccato bass first, kind of set it up, and then see if we put the hip hop bass and like push them together. Maybe we get something a little special. Let me go here, turn our gain down just a little bit because I see it's clipping here just a little bit for the bass line. I don't even know yet really what it is, so I'm just going to play around with it a little bit and get an idea. Then I'll lay it down and then I'll just adjust it in MIDI. Okay, so I have an idea. Okay. I just want to get kind of where the notes are. What I don't like here is that in some of the other programs, like some of the VSTs and some other programs or DAWs, the piano roll will show you what notes are being played. But in this one, it doesn't. It doesn't light up the notes or anything or show the notes actually depressing. So I have to kind of play around like what I think I want to hear, and then go into the DAW. I mean, into the MIDI and then just adjust it. But it works for me because it's fast. I'm like the kind of person, like kind of producer. I like to go fast. I don't like to be, I don't like to be taking forever to get done what I got to get done. So I like to roll with mine. So it works for me. Okay, hold on. Are we missing a note maybe? Here, maybe going up into it. Oh, okay, I think that's tight. Okay. Okay, I think that's gonna work. I think, oh wait though. I don't know if we want one here or we want one here at the boom, boom. Maybe it's lower. Okay, so let's play it from the beginning so I get an idea what I'm doing. Mm. Let's work on this velocity a little bit. Maybe this needs to stand out. I'm missing something here. Maybe it's too early. Okay, so maybe this has to come over a little bit. I like live sounding instruments and VSTs, or to get the movement to be almost like it's live. I know it's not. I don't want the bass players to come in here and tell me like that sucks as a bass. I know it. I know because it's not a live bass, but I like to have it feel as live as possible, even though it's electronic. Dun, 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 dun. I almost like this double note. It's not supposed to be a double note, but I almost like it. Because it's kind of off a little bit, like as far as like they're not hitting at the same time, so it kind of gives that double a little bit. So it's almost like maybe the bass player hits the string more than he should or something. So it just has this different feel to it. Maybe it needs to stick out a little bit more, though. I don't know if it's the bottom or the top. Boom, boom. Okay. Ah, you hear it? You hear it now? Boom, 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 boom. Oh, yeah. I like that. Bum, bum. And this is going to just repeat here. And then we're going to have the other one is going to be here. I don't know if maybe we should just make it longer. And then what I'm going to do, I'll go ahead and copy this. Oops. I'm going to select all of this. I'm going to copy it. Stick it on 5. Copy it right in there. I need to move it. I need to move it over one. Matter of fact, I'm just going to paste it over one. Give me my quarter tool. Go to the next quarter. Boom. We should be right on time. Bum, 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 bum. Boom. Boom, boom. There it is right there. That's our note right there. So we gotta get that to come out. I don't know why it's ghosting that note on me. I don't know, but we'll figure that out. Maybe somewhere in the mix process or something. We'll figure out what's happening with that, why it's ghosting on us there. Sometimes maybe the kick is kind of hitting in a certain way or whatever, and it just kind of deletes the note. So I don't know what that is yet, but everything pretty much has a solution, so we should be fine. I'm not going to really worry about it. I may not hear it right now, but I know it's there. Try to get this keys on, another keys on to come out. Okay, so that's what I think I'm gonna do. On a keyboard, on just a regular computer keyboard, they're only giving you that one, basically that one octave. So I have to actually switch the keys down and up in order to switch back and forth. So I'm gonna kind of play with that, just switching it back and forth, and then it's gonna put the notes in, and then I'll go ahead and just adjust whatever I want to adjust with the MIDI editor. I don't know, something like that. Not gonna take a whole lot of time, just kind of doing this to have a little bit of fun. And so sounds pretty decent. I don't know how this is gonna play out in the track, or where it's gonna, you know, if it's gonna stay in the track or what's gonna happen, but we'll see what happens. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see what happens here. So I really like kind of offbeat stuff like this in the pianos and things because it feels more musical to me. It feels like maybe a jazz pianist playing the keys instead of just regimented everything directly on the measure and not a lot of movement in it. I kind of like the movement and the way that it moves. So these are the kind of things I don't like to destroy with like editing. I really don't like. I'll edit some notes just to give it a little bit of length. Sometimes if it was just too short, but a lot of times the raw feeling of it kind of comes out when you just play it, and sometimes that's the big difference because anybody can stick the notes on the measure, but your artistry kind of comes out when you are when you're actually playing it and you're kind of in that groove of it and you're kind of feeling it. So I'm not a pianist at all. I don't play piano or whatever. So I'm just using my computer keyboard to just see what the emotion is and what comes out of it. And to me, it's cool. If other people don't like it, well, so what? If somebody uses the beat or I use the beat or whatever, it'll get used at some point. And if it's really just that bad, I'll just hire a pianist to come in and play what I was trying to play. If he's just like, yo, it's really that bad, like I can do exactly that, or I can do something really nice with that, which I'm sure they can. If it's really that bad, you can hire somebody to come in and actually collaborate on the track with you, or you just pay them to do like a work for hire. Say, hey, I need this piece played or whatever. Can you come play this for me? And keyboard players that do it, there's tons of those. So utilize that. Utilize the musicians that are around you. This is why I'm saying you can't just be an internet or a bedroom producer. You got to get out in a studio, start finding out who the musicians are in your area, people that might be willing to work with you and create a nice, create like a nice relationship with you where they'll come in and put music on your tracks. And that's going to change because when a lot of you guys, I'm sure, are hearing that the music all sounds the same right now. You've heard that said over and over and over again, and a lot of people don't understand what we're saying when we say all the music sounds the same. Doesn't mean all the exact notes are played or the exact pitch is played or whatever. It just means that the style of it it's just so canned at this point. You can tell listening to the producers who are looking at the tutorials and just following the tutorials online where they're taking their mouse and they're just like me editing in MIDI, but everything is just like on the measure and all that type of thing so that it's not off. And people just tend to duplicate that over and over again. And so literally there's like 7 notes of music in the whole world. There's only 7 notes. So all the music in the world comes from these 7 notes. So a lot of it just sounds the same because they're using the same method to get the end result. So that's what we mean by the music sounds the same. There's no organic feel to the music at all. And if you go and listen to live music and then you listen to a lot of what you hear online and the producers that we hear, not saying they're wrong because it's the style, but you're going to hear the difference in the musicality of it and the organicness of it and the movement of it and the timing of it changes for you. So, I'm going to get off that rant really quickly here because I don't want to spend all night and I definitely don't want to risk a power outage so that we lose what we got going on. But I'm just trying to explain to you what we're talking about when we say the music all sounds the same. And so as you start to learn to create as a producer, it's going to take a while, but especially if you don't play, it takes a while. You got to be around musicians, kind of watch what they do, see what they do. Even what I'm doing here, this is just because I'm able to do it on my laptop, but if I had a musician, I'm probably going to ask them to do something maybe sometimes a little bit different because there's intonations and things in the actual instruments themselves, especially guitars and basses. There's so much intonation and things that you can do with that and the slides and things like that just take your music to a whole other level. So don't be afraid to utilize that, all right? So let's save really quickly, and then we're going to listen back to what we got and see if maybe there's some opportunities to layer. can feel. I don't know if you guys can feel that, but you can feel the bass. It's almost like the microphone was under the piano, and like the wind from the the hammer hitting the string is causing like a bass in the bottom of the piano. That's why I love these piano, because it's so real to me. Let's throw some verb on it. Let's throw this round verb on it and see what kind of happens to it. Wow, that's nice. It's too much, but it's nice though. You can see how the round really changes the game. So in your production, you can use this reverb. They were giving it away free. It may not be free anymore. I think I said it was free last night, but I don't think that it's free anymore. I think they only gave it away for a certain amount of time. But if you're going to spend some money on a reverb, this is probably the one. Okay, where'd you go here? Okay. Takes a while to come up. All right. So cool, we got to drop out. But I'm going to take this mix down a lot. Maybe take the verb down a little bit. Just to hear it. I may not even leave it on while I'm producing, just so we don't get so many dropouts. Kind of nice right there. It's there, but it's not overwhelming. Okay, so I definitely hear that we need something. When I drop that string out, that string can like play in the verses. It can kind of come in and out. We might want something a little bit different to play underneath, especially maybe in the hooks or something like that, just to give it some other type of feel. Let's see. I'm like debating whether I should use the that same string. I'm gonna use that again. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna use this string. Let's see. I had an idea about maybe using the sound sphere, but I don't use that often, just because I don't know why. I just don't use it all that often. I like it. It's kind of a really cool plugin. You know what? I'm gonna pull it up. Hold on one second. Screw that. We're gonna pull it up, and then we're gonna see if we find something that's interesting in it. Let's see if I can find it here. You can tell my labor is like everybody woke up. So, of course, while I'm in the middle of doing this. So, let's see. Synth Sphere is the name of it. It's a cool little plugin. I didn't pay anything for it, like normal. So, it's definitely a cool little plugin. Does kind of a weird kind of setup. It's not knobs and things. You kind of just scroll through and find what you like. Oh, it's already on the string. So let's see kind of where we are here. Fits. I want something that lasts a little bit longer. We may get something, we may not. It's just a matter of experimenting to see what's there. Let's see. Not quite what I want. Definitely not quite what I want. So I'm gonna delete it for now. Who knows? Maybe we'll figure out something later. Let me go back to. Let me try these other strings here. I think I want something a little more classic, string wise. So let's see what we got here. That's more of a classic string type that I'm looking for. I got to really now figure out what I was doing since I kind of got thrown off by the other sounds. Find out what I was really looking for. Alright, so maybe we can layer something under that. I don't know. Let's see. Let's just play with it a little bit. Okay. It's not quite what I wanted, but let's see what we got here. Let's see. Let's draw this back. Let's draw these here. sound like that when I play. Oops. Definitely want that. Oh. Oh, okay. There we go. Okay. I don't know what this is going to be yet. I'll just see kind of how it fits, and we'll just roll with that for right now. Definitely going to turn it down because it's really just meant to kind of accent under the other strings, which are the main strings. So it's not supposed to be real prominent in the mix. Okay, that's a little bit organic. Let's see here. What else do we want to do here? Okay, let me just play back, listen to it a little bit, and see. Okay, I have an idea. I think I want to take it up a couple octaves. And then just kind of see what we get here. Okay, let's see. Just kind of mimic what we have down bottom. Okay, so you see what I'm kind of doing there, just kind of layering that in. That actually is going to work out pretty nice, I think. Let's see, it should be here, right? Same note here. Okay, so I think that's going to work out for us. let's see here. Let's go ahead and close this. So I think what I'm going to do is make this part one. Go ahead and save really quick. I'll make this part one. We'll go ahead and close this. Make sure we got what we need here, and then we'll come back maybe with a part two to kind of to flesh it out a little bit and maybe sequence it. Okay, cool. Talk to you soon.